Okay, Steve, you need to press OK that the meeting is being live streamed.
Okay. It's now being live streamed, it says.
Yeah, I just turned that on.
Okay. So shall I put it up?
Almost there. Yeah, you can.
Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. I am supposed to announce tonight that the tours are full with two very small exceptions. There are a couple of places left on the Aberdeen Quarry Tour and a couple of places left on the Spouse and Partners Tour on Friday morning to the archaeological site. But I hope everyone who has signed up will enjoy these tours and field trips. And I think you're going to see some fairly exciting things during the week. Well, first of all, I thought I would put up a map that shows where the highest mountains are in Colorado and show you the location of Denver, Colorado Springs, and Grand Junction, which probably most people will travel to either by air or by train on the Amtrak California Zephyr to Denver, Colorado Springs, or Grand Junction. And as you can see from this map, if you travel from Denver or Colorado Springs, you cross the mountains. If you travel from Grand Junction, you don't have to cross any mountain passes. Or you can fly directly into Gunnison as well. If you fly into any of those locations and drive, this gives you an idea of some of the routes from Denver. The shortest route is US Highway 285 to the southwest to Buena Vista, Poncha Springs, and over Monarch Pass on US 50. If you're in Colorado Springs, the shortest route is Colorado Highway 115 to US 50, and then to Salida and over Monarch Pass. If you're flying into Grand Junction, you just get on US 50 in Grand Junction and take it all the way to Gunnison. Or if you can fly into Gunnison, if you want to do that, they have rental cars available there as well. So our pre-meeting field trip on Wednesday is going to leave Gunnison and travel over to Blue Mesa Reservoir, the largest reservoir in Colorado, to Colorado Highway 149, which is the Silver Thread Scenic Byway. It's the same highway that goes through Creed that we visited once before. And we'll take that down to a little community of Powderhorn. And that's where we will see the Iron Hill carbonatite stock complex. Then back on 149 down to Lake City, up Henson Creek to the town site of Henson, back to Lake City and down to Lake San Cristobal, which is the reason Lake City has that name, which is a natural lake that's dammed up by the Slumgullion earth flow. That's an earth flow so large that it was photographed by the very first astronauts when they were circling the Earth. Well, the Iron Hill complex is a unique Precambrian carbonatite, easy for me to say, stock that's intruded into granite. The country rock is actually peridotite. This is carbonatite is a uh, carbonate material that was argued about by geologists for a long time, whether it was metamorphic in origin, metamorphosed limestone, or igneous in origin. And it was argued until 1960 when a volcano in Tanzania erupted a carbonate lava. And now it's known to be a phase separation from the magma coming up from the mantle, with the carbonates separating from the peridotite country rock that it's associated with. The Iron Hill complex is part of the White Earth Rare Metals District, and the rare metals that have been found in Iron Hill complex are yttrium, thorium, titanium, niobium, strontium, barium, iron, and manganese. But the only metals that have been mined there are iron and manganese in a magnetite vein. It was attempted to be smelted in Lake City in the early 1900s, and it couldn't be smelted because of the titanium content of the ore interfered with the smelting process. The only other thing that's been mined there in the past is mica. So it's a well-known deposit. It's got trenches, it's got test pits, drill holes, a couple of small adits, but it's never actually been mined. Then we head down to Lake City, and this is the Lake City caldera, and it's one of the many Cenozoic volcanic calderas in the San Juan Mountains, similar to the Creed caldera and the Silverton caldera that are both nearby. When we first get there, we're going to go through Lake City and up Hinson Creek to the Hinson town site. And there we'll see the Ulay mine, which is the oldest mine in the Lake City district, and then down to Lake San Cristobal. And this is the Slumgullion earth flow that dammed up the lake fork of the Gunnison River and created the natural Lake San Cristobal. Well, here's Hinson Creek mining district. The Ute-Ulay veins were actually discovered in 1871, but it was still part of the Ute Reservation at the time. So they weren't actually physically explored and mined until 1875. It was operated until the 1893 silver crash, and then sporadically after that, all the way through until the 1920s, during World War I, as a lead zinc mine. And in 1926, they built a new mill at the Ute-Ulay mine, and they also built a concrete arch hydropower dam at the same time, which is now breached. And we'll be able to see the reclamation that's been done there by the Colorado Mineland Reclamation Division, as well as go into the mill, which is still intact. We'll visit the historic district, the National Historic District of Lake City. We'll have lunch there in the park, and go over and just quickly visit the historical museum in Lake City. And then we'll head down to Lake San Cristobal. And along the way, we'll pass by the Golden Fleece mine, which was the second richest mine in the district. When the silver crash of 1893 occurred, many of the miners left the silver mines and attempted to work small gold properties. And the Golden Fleece was one of the more successful of those gold mines. The Thursday morning field trip is going to be to the Aberdeen Granite Quarry, which produced the gray granite for the Colorado State Capitol. And that has generated more dozens and dozens of emails than any of the other field trips, because of my requirements that only people who were physically capable of getting in and out of the quarry were allowed to go on the tour, and that only vehicles that had high clearance, four-wheel drive, and low range transfer cases were able to go down to the lower parking area for people to be able to get to it. The granite quarry was opened specifically for the granite for the state capitol. All of that gray granite on the exterior in that photo is from this quarry. It operated from August of 1889 to June of 1892, and approximately 24,000 tons of granite blocks, about 9 to 12 tons each, were hauled out of there. There was no road because of the grades there to haul the granite blocks. So the Denver and Rio Grande Railroad built a spur down to the quarry to haul the granite to Denver. The quarry actually closed periodically and closed immediately after the Capitol was constructed, and operated on and off for maybe a total of 10 years and closed permanently in 1912. And the reason for the photo down in the lower right-hand corner is because these are the granite waste blocks that you have to climb over from the parking area over here on the far right to get into the bottom of the quarry. And that's what's generated so many emails back and forth to those who signed up for it. A Friday morning spouses tour, partners tour, is to a Clovis era Paleo-Indian site that's dated older than 9,500 years. It's on top of Tenderfoot Mountain, which all the locals all call W Mountain, because the Western Colorado University W is prominently displayed on the side of it. And you see some of the archaeological site in the left-hand picture. And I threw the right-hand photo in because I love the sign that says speed limit 5 miles per hour, slow moving archaeologists ahead. That Friday morning tour obviously is during the first session of the technical sessions at the Western Colorado University Theater. So it's for anyone who wants to listen to the papers, it's probably not one that you would want to sign up for. Saturday afternoon after the business meeting, we're going to take a tour up to Crested Butte. And Crested Butte is in the upper left-hand photo. That's the butte itself. They call it Mount Crested Butte now because that's the ski area to differentiate it from the town of Crested Butte. And on the other side, that Crested Butte's east of the town, and Mount Emmons in the lower right or lower left is called the Red Lady by locals. It doesn't look red in that photo because of the snow, but that was the scene of 47 years of uh, legal battles between the town and AMAX, now Freeport McMoran, um, over the Mount Emmons molybdenum site. AMAX filed on it in 1977, and last August they extinguished their mining claims on Mount Emmons, and the city had a week-long celebration of saving Mount Emmons. On the right is the historic photo of the Colorado Fuel and Iron Company's big mine, which operated from 1894 to 1952. It produced, I have 1,000 tons per day of anthracite, but it was actually a combination of anthracite and very high grade bituminous metallurgical coal. And it's all due to the fact that the West Elk volcanics are in the core of that mountain range, and it's a contact metamorphism of the original coal. They just called it the Big Mine because it was the biggest coal mine that CF&I had. And then the Sunday field trip is going to leave Gunnison and travel on the West Elk Loop Scenic Byway on US 50 over the Blue Mesa Dam and onto Colorado 92. We'll stop at an overlook over the Black Canyon of the Gunnison. We won't actually go in the national park. Continue up through the town of Crawford, which maybe a few of you have heard of. It was the retirement home of English rocker Joe Cocker. That sounded like an alliteration. He lived there for a number of years on a ranch. And then we'll continue up to Somerset, which was a coal company town until 1960, when the coal company sold all of their interest in the town, all their public buildings and homes, to the local residents, except the water treatment system. And they still own the water treatment system, but now it's no longer meeting state standards for water quality. So there's a bit of a controversy in Somerset over who's going to pay for the new water system. The town currently has a population of 71. Then we'll continue up Colorado Highway 133 to the town of Marble and visit the marble quarry. And I just hit a key that I didn't want to hit. And then go up to another coal company town of Redstone. And that was a Colorado Fuel and Iron Company model town for coking plant workers. The owner of CF&I at the time thought that he could prevent or at least minimize labor unrest by building craftsman homes for the people in Redstone and giving them space for gardens and a cow. And he had a dairy farm for the workers. And unfortunately, the coal miners themselves lived 8 miles to the west, up about 2,000 feet higher in elevation, and they didn't have a model town. So here's the Black Canyon of the Gunnison. The picture on the left actually is taken inside the national park. The one on the right is a photo of the Black Canyon with showing Morrow Point Reservoir, which is the powered reservoir immediately downstream from Blue Mesa Dam. Here's Somerset, the company towns on the left. It was a company town from 1896 to 1962, and it is barely existing these days. On the right is the West Elk Coal Mine, which is directly west of the town of Somerset, just outside the city limits. And it is a newer mine, opened in 1982. It's an underground longwall mine. It's now producing about 4.7 million tons a year, and all of it is exported. Has around 300 employees, and because of the closure of all the large open pit coal mines in Colorado, this is now the largest production coal mine left in the state. On Sunday afternoon, we'll travel up to Marble and go up to the gate, at least, of the modern quarry. The historic quarries at Marble are gone. The workings have been closed, and the current Italian mining company that operates it have opened new adits into the mountain, and it's all underground quarrying. There's no above ground quarries. And then onto the town of Redstone, and we will have a couple of tours at Redstone. One will be of these recently restored coke ovens, because Redstone was a company coking town. And the tour guide on that particular part of the walk will be the man who was actually planned and in charge of managing the reconstruction of the coke ovens. And we will also have a walking tour of the town historic district. It's just a single street of craftsman homes on both sides of the street, the company store, and the company boarding house, which is an interesting place to visit because it's now the Redstone Inn. And that was the boarding house for the single coke plant workers. Well, the families lived in the craftsman houses along both sides of the street. You can get a room in the Redstone Inn if you would like for the night on Sunday night, or within a very short distance, you can. This is a one-way tour, so you're leaving Gunnison for good if you're on this tour. And you can go up to Carbondale, Glenwood Springs, or Aspen even, and find a room for the night in one of those locations. Or if you want to drive a little later, you can go all the way to Grand Junction or to Denver on I-70 because you meet I-70 at Glenwood Springs. So see you all in Gunnison, June 11th through 15th of this year. It's here.
Thank you very much, Steve.
You're welcome. And
Questions, comments?
yeah, any questions or comments, please feel free.
How much snow has Colorado gotten this year?
Not enough. The northeastern part of the state has gotten above average snowfall. The southwestern part of the state, including the Gunnison area, is below normal. So they're hurting. They got at Gunnison itself, which is in the valley, got 9 inches last week, early last week, but it's gone. So not enough. Questions on the tours? Gee, I couldn't have answered all of them.
Quiet people tonight.
I assume there's box lunch or something like that. What's the lunch for the Sunday tour?
Yeah, it's I don't remember specifically, but it's just it's a box lunch prepared by the caterer at the university. They're doing the tour lunches, the reception on Thursday evening at the Pioneer Museum, and the presidential luncheon on Saturday at the University Center. The only meal that they're not doing is the Friday night awards banquet, and that's at the Palisade Restaurant. Doesn't anyone have any questions about the carbonatite? That's the most fascinating part of the whole trip.
Are there interesting specimens that you can collect there?
We may be able to. It's all a private holding by a Vancouver mining company, including the 2 ranches that abut it, that were actually ranches that originally had the property that the Iron Hill is on. And the local representative of the mining company is the 3rd generation rancher who owns the Lehman Ranch adjacent to the hill.
This is Richard Francavilla. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I'm sorry, my camera isn't working, but I have a question. I've long been interested in the anthracite mining in the Crested Butte area and have geological report on it and so on. And I won't be able to be on the field trip, but I will have a little time to experience it myself.
Okay.
Before I check into the hotel. And the question is any of that anthracite mining, including any of the dumps or anything available to sort of poke around? I'd like to take a firsthand look at the anthracite specimens there, maybe compare them to northeastern Pennsylvania and so on.
Yeah. The mine is completely gone. In fact, the Big Mine Ice Arena is now located on the location of that large structure that you saw in the historic photo. So the only thing preserved is the name. But if you go up to the ghost towns of either anthracite north of Crested Butte or Floresta, which is west of Crested Butte on County Road 12,
Mhm,
you may be able to find both of those were anthracite mines,
mhm.
and you may be able to find some samples there. I'm sure both of them now are primarily private property, ranches, because no mining's going on anymore. I doubt that the mining claims are even valid, but both of those were reasonably large contributors. In fact, the mine at Floresta was significant enough that the Rio Grande Railroad built a spur all the way up from Crested Butte uh, to the Floresta mine, which is up on Kevlar Pass.
So I would guess if there were railroad grades, you could find anthracite specimens along the railroad tracks or the railroad grades, because that
Yeah,
would always
you,
good for spilling off the trains.
Mhm.
yeah, you might be able to. Um, I've never looked for them, and most of that railroad grade is now on private ranch land.
Well, thanks for that lead. I greatly appreciate it, and I'll look around and let you know what I find.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Richard.
And then Matt, you have your hand up? Matt Hudson?
Yeah, I lived over there for 12 years and I can speak to Richard's question a little bit more. Up at the Smith Hill mine, there's quite a bit of anthracite screening still on the ground, and you can drive right to that. There's public parking there. And then you can get to the Floresta grade, but you kind of have to bushwhack from Kepler Pass to get to the part that's not private property.
So that part's on
If you're
Forest Service
youngish
land,
and
Matt?
fittish, you can certainly get there. Correct.
Site you mentioned, I didn't catch that before you mentioned Floresta grade.
You can hike over to the Floresta grade by bushwhacking from the north part of Kevlar Pass.
Okay.
So you can get on the private or the public part of the grade there. I think it's public till you get up to the north a little bit around a rock cut, if I remember right. I haven't been there a
Well, thank you very much.
long time. That's what I remember. I even found some little coking ovens down in the trees down there that they must have set up early trying to test the coal.
Thank you.
Is there any public property around the old anthracite town site, Matt?
No, there's no legal public way to get to
Okay.
Floresta. Anthracite is Smith Hill. It's kind of interchangeable. I'm sorry.
And that
You can
and
drive
that does have
to Smith
that
Hill,
does have
which is,
yeah.
yeah, you can get buckets of coal there because I've done it.
Okay.
And that is called, is that Smith's Hill you were saying?
Yeah, it's up the Slate River Road from Crested Butte, probably 5 or 6 miles.
Very good.
It's pretty clear where it is. It's where all the black stuff is.
Steve, I just noticed you're still sharing your screen.
Oh. How do I get it? Oh, down here. Okay.
Yes. There we go.
Is that better?
It is for me.
Okay.
Okay. Dr. Clements, are you around? Can you give a plug for the journal?
Round in what sense? Round of what?
Around like a dandelion blossom.
Yeah, that's me. What sort of plug for the journal would you like?
Come on.
Well,
Do you need some articles, dear?
you need some articles, not for this year, but for next year. Yeah, we have nothing for the moment, which is going to produce an interesting question come next August or whatever. If we have nothing to publish, well, we'll have a presidential address, I guess. But otherwise, yeah, we are in the market, as it were, always in terms of things. Any subject or era or locale is how this game is played in the Mining History Journal. So we
Well,
welcome
we do have some academic geologists and historians who are presenting papers in Gunnison, and some of those presenters may be interested in preparing an actual paper for publication as well. So perhaps you should put in a plug at the beginning of the sessions and encourage people to submit articles.
I shall bore you all with my annual entreaties. You know how this works. I shall beg and plead and cajole, but yeah, that's we'll do something in terms of the at the banquet certainly. But that's a good idea about doing it as a general announcement at the beginning of the sessions. So I do go around and wheedle people about this stuff, but so there we are. But the present this year's issue is cooking right along, and we're in good shape for that. So you'll be seeing that in October.
Okay. Let's see. To
Any-
announce.
Any other? Oh, go ahead, Barbara.
Okay, any other questions for Gunnison? Comments?
I was just going to suggest that if there are questions that aren't related to the tours, I'd be happy to answer those. But why don't you go ahead first, and then maybe somebody will think of something.
Okay, I was just going to tell everybody who isn't part of the officer of the board, the council, that next year, that the 2026 conference is going to be early due to the booking the venue. It's going to be May 28th through the 31st. We were either at the end of May or all the way at the end of June. And a vote was taken, and most people wanted to go in May. So the weekend after Memorial Day, somewhere around Pittsburgh, Kansas, or oh, help me, what's the
Joplin, Missouri.
or Joplin, Missouri, somewhere in there. We've had to light a light under the organizers to get some more information on them, but we've got dates, and hopefully we'll be getting out more information by this year's conference, what we're going to be doing next year. My second announcement is there'll be no nuggets in the fall. I've got stuff coming up in the fall that I need to take care of. So we're going to take a little break and hopefully resume in January. Also, people seem to be running out of topics they want to talk about. So I'm hoping that, we cut out 4 and those people will come forward for January. So this is our last nugget for 25. Then we'll see you again at 26. Any questions? Any volunteers for next fall, next spring? Not yet. Okay, well, think about it. Any other questions for Steve? Well, thank you all for coming, and thank you, Steve, for giving us a preview. And hope to see many of you in Gunnison. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Barbara.
Looking forward to it. Good to see everybody. See you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, Steve and Barbara. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve.